This past year, I have found it incredibly difficult to concentrate. My husband is working from home. Maybe your working conditions have changed. Maybe your living situation has changed and you're trying to find your focus again. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Laura and I help you live a simpler, happier, more spacious life. And it's difficult to do that if you are surrounded by distractions. I like to work in silence, but like I said, my husband is working from home for the most part now, and I have found that really difficult. My concentration levels have really suffered, but I am getting myself back on track with these specific tips. The first step is crucial if you ever actually hope to achieve anything, and that is to set yourself a very specific outcome. If you just sit down and you don't really know what you want to do, you're probably not going to achieve much. And I find this all the time. I sit down to do some research or to, maybe try and figure out what it is that I actually want to do, and then hours pass. Instead, you really want to know what you hope to get out of this focused amount of time you have. So instead of, for example, researching something, you will have a goal of reading 10 articles on that topic or watching 5 videos on the topic. It could even be something like find X amount of ways to do this thing that I'm trying to do. It could be time limited as well, because I don't know about you, but if I'm looking something up, particularly I do a lot of research, online on social media to see what's trending, etc. But it ends up with me falling down a rabbit hole. So I set myself a goal of, for example, spend 30 minutes, and then I would set a timer for myself. Time limits are really important for me because if I just have an indefinite amount of time, I'm going to take my time. Whereas when I have limited time, I have to get in the zone. I have to knuckle down and get the job done. So be very, very clear about when you can actually tick that task off, when you will reach the end point, whether that be a specific outcome or just a specific amount of time. And that will help your brain to really narrow in on what it needs to do. Next then is to gather all of your tools, all of your supplies in advance. The reason this is so important is because when you sit down and you're starting to kind of get in the flow of things, the last thing you'll want to do is to interrupt that by having to get up and go get something. Write yourself a list of everything that you'll need and then gather all of that stuff together. One of the things that you might need is one of these. So Feelsing is sponsoring this video. These are essentially neurostimulant patches. I will talk about them a little bit later in the video, but let me show you kind of my first day using them. Okay, I will say my skepticism is through the roof on these ones. So I think I'm going to start with the original strength and see how I go with that. Wipe skin clean behind the ear. I've done that. I've had a shower, cleaned behind my ears. Place the zing patch on firm muscle. I don't know if any of my muscles are firm. And press firmly. Avoid hair when possible. Okay, here goes nothing. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It says to clean the skin again, but to pull the tab to activate it, and then place and press between the ear and the hairline, and I should feel 7 minutes of strong stimulation. It says expect strong sensation. You do get up to 2 uses out of it, so you can reattach it to this little space here and then reuse it as long as it's within 24 hours. So yeah, looks a little strange, but if it works, it works. Let's see. Oh my. It feels like there's a swarm of bees like it's not an unpleasant sensation. What kind of stop there? Oh no, it started again. It's just vibrating basically against my skin, and I can feel it going up a little bit into my ear and just surrounding areas. It feels so strange. Ooh. Now for the real test, I guess, which is to actually go and do some work. Now that you have gathered all of your tools and supplies, take a bathroom break. Again, it's all about helping you to stay in the zone as long as you can without having to get up and go somewhere else and just break your concentration. Also make sure that you grab a drink for yourself and potentially some snacks as well if you know that you're going to be there for quite a while. Now, this comes with a bit of a caveat. I would say for the snacks at least, maybe put them somewhere out of sight so that they're not distracting you, they're not tempting you as you're working, but they are there nearby if you do need them. I don't know about you, but if I see snacks on my desk, even if I'm not that hungry, I will still eat them. Next then, and this kind of follows on from that, but it is to preempt and eliminate or cut down as much as possible on the amount of distractions that you might face. Anything that might interrupt the flow of your work. For example, muting your phone, leaving it in another room even, just letting people know that you're not to be disturbed for X amount of time. Try to think through all of the things that would normally distract you and solve that problem. Figure out how you could minimize the chances of that happening. If you're working from home and you've got kids, a great thing to do there is to actually give them an activity that has a very specific time limit on it. Kids, in my experience, do not do well with the kind of vagueness of I just need to get this done, or I just need some peace and quiet for a little bit. They need something a little bit more definite than that. So if you have kids, try something like that. Give them an activity that lasts a certain amount of time so they know that they can't disturb you while they're doing that activity, but they also know that when it's done, that is a safe time. You can also put up basically a do not disturb sign, and that could be a literal sign that says, I'm working, do not disturb, or it could be something a little bit more figurative, like maybe you put on some headphones. That can be great in an office situation where you work with other people and you want to just give them a heads up that now might not be the best time to walk in. Okay, day 2 today. I'm going to be trying the extra strength. This is the new packaging. Let me tell you about yesterday. So when I put on the second application, I think because for the first one you've got the 2 layers of gel, for the second one you peel off one of the layers of gel, so there's not as much of a cushion there, but the vibrating was definitely more intense the second time around. So I'm interested to see what the extra strength is like today. Let's try it. Oh, my hair is so frizzy today, the humidity. Here we go. Okay, looks the exact same. Pulling the tab, pop it on. Okay, same amount of vibration as the first time yesterday. Anyway, let's get to work. I have found this next one really important, and that is that if there is something else that is kind of niggling on your mind, if there's something that you're thinking of, if there's something that is distracting you, a thought or something like that, or you know thoughts will come up, for example, what am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? If those types of thoughts and things generally distract you, then figure them out in advance. If you have been meaning to make a phone call, make it. If there is some kind of chore or errand or something that has been weighing on your mind and you have the time to do it beforehand, do it. It's just going to free up so much headspace so that when you're trying to concentrate on one thing, your brain won't be distracted by something else that it feels you should be doing. So figure out what you're having for lunch, figure out what you're having for dinner, make that phone call, book that appointment, get all of that stuff out of the way so that your brain can completely focus on the task at hand. I feel like these next 3 are so important, and the first of those is where feelsing comes back in. I will actually be using these again when I go to edit this video, just so that I can focus and get it done. But why things like this are so important is because they let your brain know that now is the time to work. It's like when you commute, you have that kind of buffer time between home and the office, and it's why a lot of people struggle to work from home, because there is no separation. There's nothing that tells your brain now is kind of relaxing time and now is work time. There is no delineation, there's no separation. So something like this is great for just kind of getting yourself in the zone and giving yourself kind of just a little indication that, hey, now it's time to knuckle down. These essentially send electrical currents to your brain that are supposed to help you focus. I'm not a scientist, I don't 100% understand the science behind it, but did I feel like a cool cyborg when I had the little patch on? Yes. The act of putting these on tells me that, hey, now we're getting serious. Now it's time to get the job done. Okay, day 3, and this is my second use of this extra strength one, and I need it. Today I'm so tired. So same thing, peel it off, and now I'm peeling off this gel layer. And tonight is date night, so I want to get all of my work done beforehand so that I can just relax and enjoy myself. So here we go, vibration starts. This one's actually not too bad. Time to get to work. I will link to these in the description box. You get 2 of them and they last for up to 4 hours each. They come in original strength and extra strength. Personally, I find that the extra strength worked better for me. Funnily enough though, from reading the reviews, people have said that the original strength worked well for them and they didn't see any kind of extra boost from the extra strength one, and I found that the extra strength one did, I think, work better for me. So I don't know, I guess each person is different, but yeah, try them out, see what you think yourself. Okay, let me give you an update then on this one. I don't know if it's because it's the extra strength one, but with this one, after the kind of initial vibration dies down, which it does after the first few minutes, but since then I have been kind of feeling little pulses, and I didn't feel that with the kind of original strength one. So yeah, I don't know if it's coincidence, but I definitely have felt much more focused with the extra strength than I have with the original strength. Such a kind of like strange little device, and it makes me wonder if in like 10, 20, 50 years down the line we'll all be walking around with some sort of patch or device actually attached to us. And I don't mean our phones or anything, but I mean something like this that is actually some form of neurostimulant or something that gives us, you know, I don't know, like extra vision or like some sort of augmented reality vision or something like that. But I mean, this just makes me feel very space age. But for now, this robot has to get back to work. After that then is using a timer, and I preach about this all the time, but for me it is absolutely vital. Again, like I already mentioned, it gives you a limited time frame so that your brain knows it has to knuckle down and get the work done because there is a deadline. You can't dilly-dally, you can't be distracted, you've just got to get it done. But the other reason I find it so helpful is that if I don't know when the work is going to end, or if I kind of know but I've given myself a time and I don't have an actual timer set, I am going to be constantly checking the clock. Whereas when I have a timer set, then I can focus fully on the work because I know that the timer is going to let me know. I'm not thinking about when my next break is going to be. I'm not thinking about how many minutes are left. I can purely concentrate on the work at hand. Timer takes care of everything. I can get in the zone. I can kind of utilize that race against the clock mentality because I want to get the work done before the timer goes off. And again, it just eliminates some of those distractions that might pop up, like checking the time. And then this one is so important. This is going to save you because, let's be real, distractions will come up. People will interrupt you with a question, or a thought will pop into your head. You will have, if you're like me, like squirrel syndrome, shiny object syndrome. You'll be working on one thing and an idea for another thing will pop into your head, or you will be wondering what's for dinner, or what's for dinner tomorrow, even if you've already decided what you're having today. The mind is just a strange place. For those times, what is really going to help is to have a notebook or a piece of paper beside you so that when those ideas and when those thoughts crop up, you can jot them down, because the way your brain works is if it latches on to something, it's going to keep reminding you over and over until you do something about it because it doesn't want you to forget. It's essentially like an open loop in your brain. It's an unfinished task that's just going to keep nagging at you. It's going to distract you from the job that you're actually doing. So write it down. That way you'll know that it's taken care of. You know that you're not going to forget about it, which is something that I often worry about when I'm working on something and I get an idea for something else. I think, oh, if I don't do something with that now, I'm going to forget. So I write it down, and that lets my brain know that, hey, I'm not going to forget. This is taken care of. I can come back to this at a later date. Now I can get back to what I'm actually doing right now in the moment. That is going to help you so much, because let me know in the comments if you are one of these types of people who does get distracted. You're doing one thing, you get an idea for another thing, and then you go chase that thing, and then you forget about the original thing. For me, it's just this like endless chain of doing one thing, getting distracted, going and doing another, and on and on. It's so hard to finish anything. So now I keep some scrap paper beside me. If I get an idea, I jot it down, and my brain can just take it easy and relax, safe in the knowledge that I'm not going to forget that thing. I just need to work on it at a different time. What do you think? What helps you to focus, or what do you find is your biggest distraction that prevents you from focusing? Again, remember to check out the link in the description for more information on the Feelsing patches. Clean, fast energy without chemicals. And until next time, Gurav, míle maith agaibh. Agus feici mé sibh. Slán!